Yo, welcome to another episode of the BJJ GOONS podcast. I am your host, Tim, the Mushmaster Spriggs, and with me every week, as always, is...
Hey everybody, what's up? It is Nico Ball, no new Nico here.
And today we have no guest, just me and Nico in the virtual studio.
Just stuck with us, y'all. Stuck with us today. And hopefully, hopefully we're not going to say any crazy shit. Hopefully we're not going to get canceled. Me and Tim have already been sitting here for like about an hour talking. So I think we got all of our inappropriate frustrations out.
Yes, absolutely. Hopefully very soon the BJJ GOONS headquarters is complete. Right now I'm building my own home studio. That's basically what I've been up to. Nico, what's new with you?
Not much. I got to like catch up with you a little bit. Because I don't know if everybody knows, but Tim's up closer towards Baltimore. I live in DC, which is about 45 minutes away. And I haven't really been training with TLI with my team. I have a little secret training group or a closed training group to, minimize contact with everybody here in the city. So I got to go out to TLI. One time I sat there and talked to Master Lloyd while everybody was training. And then Master Lloyd asked me to go out Tuesday, actually, because a former guest that we had, Tafon, I still can't say his last name. I feel so.
Tafon Nchukwi.
Chukwi, and I should know because they kept saying it. Tafon Nchukwi. Everybody should know because Dana Dunn said he was scared of him.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so.
Tafon was fighting on the UFC Contender, so Master Lloyd had me go over there to kind of do some filming because I do a lot of filming for the team. So a lot of times when I don't actually go out to the fights with the fighters, Master Lloyd or Coach Jamal, they'll send me. No, Coach Jamal knows how to do his own video editing. He would be so insulted if I said he used me. They send me like clips and I'll do the editing for them to do on social media and stuff like that. So Master Lloyd was sending me some clips of Tafon like warming up and stuff like that, his face off, like behind the scenes clips. And then I went over and got like video of the team watching the fight, which was really cool. But that meant like as the fight was going on, like I had my back to the TV and like I'm filming everybody's reaction. So like the only reason I saw the knockout was because of the replay. So I realized that kind of sucked, but it was a good time to actually see the team because it's been like 6 months since I've really been able to hang out with them.
Don't feel bad, Nico. I didn't see the knockout live. I had to watch it on social media because I'm a cheap bastard and I did not feel like paying for ESPN Plus. So I watched on social media, and I got the bootleg too.
Oh man, like even I pay for ESPN Plus. Like I have a subscription limit, but what did I get it for? Not even Pedro's, but like Pedro's, I had to see Pedro's fight. Like I don't even think it was Sadiq, but I pay for ESPN Plus. I'm at the point where I need to cancel it now that Tafon's fought, but even I have ESPN Plus.
Hey man, if people want me to watch them, they just need to send me the link or their login. If they're really that pressed for me to watch, I'm balling on a budget, baby.
Balling on a budget. I guess I mean can't complain because I say the same thing. Like I'm always broke, never have any money, but like we've been investing the money in the studio, I guess. So like we got new studio backdrops, all that other stuff. That's why I was up there. When are you getting your mats in?
My mats come in on Monday.
Monday.
So the day this episode drops, they should be at my house at some point. Now my fingers are crossed. I'm knocking on wood that it actually works out for me. But I already have my crew ready to install the mats and the whole spot is going to be ready. And I'll have my own personal headquarters. Once we figure out all this equipment over here with all this sound stuff from the old studio, we'll be able to have podcasts, actual in-person private training, and I'll be able to film all my instructionals and share all my jiu-jitsu knowledge for the better part of the last 2 decades of me training, and it'll be able to be shared to the entire world. And I'm going to have online courses so that You can train with your own crew in your own spot. I mean, in a perfect world, we can change the jiu-jitsu landscape where that people can train from home or with their crew, and mats aren't really super expensive. All you need is a small area for some mats and some guys that are dedicated or gals that are dedicated, and you can get better. And that's what I want to help provide, because a huge question that we've been getting, we had a lot of fan questions this week, was what to do if your team or your gym is racist. How do you deal with training with a bunch of Nazis and Klansmen?
I think we've talked extensively on this. I have one of the people that I train with, he's really like linked into, because a lot of us in the DC area do a lot of competitions like US grappling. I know TLI doesn't do it, but US grappling and Toro Cup, which are in the South Carolinas. So there, like, a lot of people in the DMV are also linked into the jiu-jitsu scene down in the South Carolinas, where the racists have been running rampant, I guess. But I don't follow their feeds, and I don't like, I see these athletes at tournaments all the time. I see the ones that are cool, the ones that support me, but like, I'm never like on Facebook. I produce so much content, like I don't actually consume a lot of it. I feel bad, like, especially when people are like, oh, you didn't see that on Facebook, that post on Facebook? It's like, no. But yeah, I know, like, my friends have just been getting really upset just about like things that people are posting, the subtle comments. But to me, I'm not used to it, because I kind of curate my feed. So it's like I have a lot of TLI people and people from the favela, and like that's pretty much like all I see, really. So it's interesting.
Speaking of curation, what I do whenever I'm bored, or my ADD, which is a constant struggle with me, ADHD is a bitch. Anyway, what I do is I scroll through my feed and I just unfollow everyone. I'm trying to get to a point where it's only people that I like or that are funny or
Hmm.
people that I actually know. And life is better that way. You know, I try to avoid it. I want to get to a point where I don't need social media. I picked the wrong profession for that, because I guess we is the media. So we kind of have to be involved, but I try to avoid it. However, once or twice a week, sometimes more, I get asked, what do I do? Who should I train with? Do you know of a place in your area? Do you know of anybody? And it kind of shitty, like it sucks. And we talk about this a lot. I don't really know what answer to give. I try to give people suggestions of places to train, but it's no guarantee. Even places that I've trained, there are fucked up people there. You know what I mean? There are people that within the gyms that are telling me like, man, this guy's a fucking asshole. Like I don't feel comfortable here. Like places that I vouch for, I get reports about sometimes. And there's a lot of concern. Before I give my answer, what would your answer be, Nico, for people that want to find a safe space to train?
I mean, I don't think there's one clear answer for that. Like, because some people are in more isolated places, and there can never be really a truly safe space. Like jujitsu should be like a political free sphere, and I had some friends that were saying is like, you shouldn't be allowed to speak on politics in a jujitsu gym. And like, yeah, that's a great idea in theory, but you just always have to understand that there's going to be people that don't agree with you. People, like, I get mad at people that come and show me their expensive ass shoes. You don't even have to be racist. You just have to have the audacity to show me a pair of $800 shoes when I'm stressed out because people aren't eating in Brazil. But like, that's just like, just because my priorities don't align with you doesn't mean we can't train together. But it's like, that's not a person I can have a friendship with because I don't care about your shoes. So like, that's kind of somebody that I've had to end my friendship with. Like, we like, I can't have a friendship with them because like they're a great person. I wish them the best, but they can't be around me. So understanding like, you know, I work with this person. I have to see them every day at work, but you know, they just can't be in my inner circle. So I have maybe 2 or 3 great friends at work, for example, that I'm really close with. And those are the people that, you know, anytime like I'm about to have an anxiety attack, something makes me mad, I can go to those people. And I think it's important to kind of do that at your gym. Like, you should have at least a drilling partner, a training partner, you know, somebody that you have to rely on. And then understand that maybe if you're somewhere like the Bible Belt, you can't find a gym that's going to be the perfect environment, but you can find people that are going to complement you. And then we're living a global age, like reach out to other people, you know, like I you know, the people that I look forward to, my mentors would be, one is in Texas. There's a businessman in Portugal who's Angolan that I look up to and I communicate with daily. Like he had an article come out on him in like some newspaper in Portugal, and I had him send it to me because that's the kind of news I want to see. Like I don't want to see Black people getting killed in the news. I would rather see an article on how 5 successful Black business entrepreneurs deal with racism. You know, I curate my content. You know, I have these conversations with you, and I'm constantly having conversations on Instagram, on social media with people that need to make those connections. So like when we say like, oh, we're going to start a virtual class, and I think people, there's a lot of virtual classes going on more now, but we're not doing that because, you know, like we're really into instructionals or this or that. It's more kind of a place because people have been reaching out for either, yeah, we want to know how to do takedowns, but also we like Tim's teaching philosophy, or, you know, just they might want to, they just like his energy or his vibe or the TLI vibe, and they're trying to figure out how they can get closer to it. So we just kind of want to have a forum where, you know, you can learn some technique. We also have discussions. So like we're answering these questions with you face to face, you know, and you have somebody. So like you can have these conversations with us and then go back to your gym where you still have to deal with other people that might not be the perfect environment. But at least you had that contact and you're building those relationships, but you're never going to be in a completely safe space. There is no such thing as a safe space, really.
Almost took the words right out of my mouth. I think a good lesson in life and what's going on now is that you can't nerf the world. There's no safe space anywhere. Even in people's own homes, there is no safe space. I think a thing that's helped me and will help a lot of people is to be able to compartmentalize. You know, when you go to the gym, you should go there for a purpose. Even if you are in the Bible Belt or somewhere that you feel the people don't have the same worldview as you, or they're very negative, and you have very little to no options. If that's the case, you should look at it as just a laboratory, kind of like a strictly business situation where you go in there and you train. Now, the great part is people like myself who are developing forums and abilities so that you can get high level instruction from someone that isn't racist or someone that is kind of positive or is very positive, and you can still learn. And like Nico said, use your resources. The greatest thing in the world and the worst thing is a cell phone, and you can use that to get in touch with different types of people, and you can not only just exchange knowledge, but you can build a community in and of itself. I helped create the Legacy Martial Arts Association with that distinct purpose in mind. Everyone is in different life situations. However, I know that if you save up your money, you can get yourself your own training area in your house if you have an ability to, and communicate with other people and try to set it up where you can train and you can study one of these courses that I'm starting or other people have started, and make it your own, you know. Because the beautiful part about jiu-jitsu is, although you may not be a competitor, you go to jiu-jitsu all the time, eventually you will get your black belt. You can open your own academy. If you are in an area or you're in a place where you have training options, you know, I hate to say this, but chances are if you're going to train somewhere that and you don't want to go train with racists, you should probably go for a school that is run by a minority. Okay. So, you know, chances are a Black gym owner isn't racist or a Nazi or won't go quoting Nazis online. So with that being said, you got to do your Carfax, you got to do some research and find out what training environment works best for you. But yeah, that's the best advice I can give. And if you feel as though you go someplace and you thought it was one thing, it's another, feel free to leave. At the end of the day, you got to hurt these people's pockets. If you think that they're a piece of shit and you don't like it, don't watch their videos. If you like what they're teaching, bootleg the shit and share it to all your non-racist friends. Do little stuff like that. I mean, think about it. Like, yeah, they might not respect you, but they respect the dollar. This is America, baby. This country was founded on capitalism. At the end of the day, money talks and bullshit walks. So put your money in people that look like you and have the same worldview as you, and that don't despise you just for being who you are.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, money talks. That's a big thing. It's like, I know a lot of people that are scared to call out racist in their gym or don't want to say anything. And I mean, you should never feel uncomfortable to speak on something that makes you uncomfortable. But
I look at it like this, man. Don't start none, don't be none. If you have the balls to put that shit online, or they have the balls to say it out loud, you have every right to nip that shit in the bud and call them out on it. I don't give a damn who it is. And yeah, like, people are scared, but like, if your instructor is wilding out and says some wild shit, just tell them I'm not training there no more. Because I mean, that's the trump card. If more people went on, if they saw that their instructor was saying wild shit online or saying stuff in practice, and they approached them and said, I mean, you can't beat them up. I mean, yeah, like, I mean, in my situation, yeah, if somebody would say something, chances are I could kick their ass. But what hurts more, a 5-minute ass whooping, or you just take their money, you don't get the money no more? Or if
I mean,
everyone's
I
just
think
like,
one issue might be like some people are locked into contracts. So some people, I mean, like, to make that stand, you might lose money. And like, I mean, and
you got to
so,
stand on your
like
principles.
a lot of issues with like this whole any kind of fighting for any kind of rights is people want like the revolution, but they don't want to sacrifice something, and that's a non-reality. So like, you might be training with some racists, and you might need to leave, and you might lose a whole year contract, but I mean, that's your morals versus your bank account, and like, and that you got to make a stand. I'm not a very nice person, so it's like, to me, it's like, if you're gonna complain about the money, then it's like, well, then deal with the racist. Like, lose the money. Like, sometimes you gotta sacrifice. Like,
I think that's the problem too. Just not with this, but when people ask advice, it's like, bro, like, you got to make a stand somehow. Like, you can't just ask me something and I give you the answer. You're trying to get a different answer out of me that's more convenient. Like, at a certain point, you just got to sacrifice. Like, you got to say enough's enough and do what I suggest. If it doesn't work, well, don't blame me, because this is just advice.
right?
So, speaking of racism and stuff, I mean, you're going to Brazil.
So
You're going to
actually,
Brazil, right?
yep, it's fine. Like, I finally this week have, because normally I go every August. So like, because I'm a teacher here in DC. So when I have my summer break, which is a laughable summer break of only 3 weeks, I go down to handle stuff at Today Kids Project and train. But I wasn't able to go this August because of COVID. And now I have business things that I just have to go and take care of soon. And we're still virtual teaching. So I'm dipping out on Thanksgiving, and I'm gonna be down there for like a month or two.
How does that feel? How nervous are you?
Oh,
Do you
I'm
feel?
terrified. Like, it's really weird because I know a couple people have gone down to Brazil. Like, I know Diego Bispo, like like beginning mid-pandemic, was down there very early to go see his family. And Michael Sears, who works for Flow Grappling, he's down there. Like, maybe right now he might have just came back because he has a Brazilian wife, because like they had a travel ban. Like, we were banned from going there. We weren't even allowed to get there for a while. And he was there. So I kind of hit him up because like I was getting the ideas. Like, I've been coordinating this with the guys at Today Kids Project and with Today, because I need to see Today. Like, That was the main thing. When he comes back to Rio to see him. So I hit up Michael. I was like, hey, how is it down in Rio? And he's like, oh, it's cool. It's just like it is in Texas. I was like, like,
that's not good.
that's not good. No, it's not. It's not. And I was like, maybe you don't know how we feel about y'all in Texas, but we think y'all are crazy. And then like, and I see like I
Just
follow a
raw
lot of
dog
people.
in the atmosphere. No mask.
Like I follow a lot of people, like, you know, the people from my social project. So the social project, like, they're having evening classes for adults, and they have like socially distant squares. They're definitely not socially distanced training for the normal classes. And then there's like the competitors. So like all of the competitors from Cantagalo, all of the big name ones. So like from my project, like Jonathan Marquez, who has been with like the Mendez brothers and with Dream Art, and now he's back in the favela. He's a brown belt. Another brown belt, Buddha, who's like a favela legend but not a competition legend because he just got out of jail. The Gomez brothers from Checkmat, Dudu from Checkmat, Natan Chung from Cesaro Costa, and that's like just one generation. Because then you have like Sandro and like their teachers. Like all of them have been training together collectively in different social projects. So they're not like actually doing like our projects training, but I could see them at different spots. Like, so they're all training normal. And it's like, all right. And then like in Sao Paulo, the people like I also have to go to Sao Paulo. So not only do I have to go to Brazil, I have to go to Rio, and I stay in the favela. It's not like I'm staying at like some nice apartment. No, I'm staying in the favela with my people. And then I have to go down to Sao Paulo. And Sao Paulo, I don't know if they're really training. All I ever see them doing is like distributing like food baskets and hygiene stuff. So it's like I see people out and about, and it's like it's kind of odd. So it's like I know my people are out and they seem to be okay, but I'm still worried about the contact and the exposure and being in the favela where everything's a lot more packed in.
That is pretty dicey with the favela situation. I mean, I feel as though it's probably similar to how it is in impoverished areas in the States where the numbers might be higher. At least that's what I read. Like, you know, the areas that are most affected, and I think is by design, is basically people that are underprivileged or minorities. So, I mean, I could totally see how you'd be kind of sketched out by it. It's kind of sad to see, and I see people able to train in a situation like that, because I can't even really train like that right now. Can't really compete either just because of the risk. Really close family member, my grandmother needs heart surgery, so I can't really risk being around my family and going out there and training with guys. I know someone in Canada, she told me that they had to close down her gym for a while because one of the instructors got sick.
Mm-hmm.
And then Canada, like they took it really serious, at least their gym did, from my understanding, from what I was told. And it's pretty fucked up. It's not scary because, you know, I mean, it's 2020. We live in like the baseline for just average everyday terror and fear for your own life is just so high right now that I'm not really scared, but it's like you got to take calculated risk, and some of them aren't really worth it. So it's kind of ixnay on any kind of defense of my fight to win title. It's kind of ixnay on these ADCC trials because, you know, I'm really close with my family. I'm around my family a lot, and it's not worth it to me, you know. And it's the situation we're in. And a lot of it might happen. A lot of like the response and like the future of competing is going to be based on how Pans goes, I think, too.
Wow, yeah. People keep inviting me to Pants, 2 people, and I'm like, fuck no, I'm not going. And then, but here's the thing. So not only do I have to go to Brazil to work for Terere Kids Project and Favela Jiu-Jitsu, because Favela Jiu-Jitsu is a media company. There's a Grand Slam in December. I was like, well, if I'm going to be there and I have fighters fighting, I might as well try to get a press pass. So I might, like, and I'm still up in the air if I want to do that. Because, like, when you talk about calculated risk, that's, like, a serious thing. So, like, up until September, I've been paying, like, emergency salaries to, the, like, Terere Kids Project. So, like, And all of that's based on like fundraising and like me going out and like every day having to do stuff. So like before, my concern was like, if I get sick and I'm out for 2 weeks and I can't be like making posts and like, you know, trying to raise like up $1,000 a month, like, then it don't matter. Like all those Black Lives Matter like protests, I was like, then the Black lives I'm supporting are gonna be kind of screwed. So that was like kind of my thing. It's like I can't get sick because I don't have 2 weeks to not work. But now the emergency salaries are done. I'm not supporting anyone. What I need to do is to make sure like all my production and my administration and everything is cool. So now it's like I could go to Brazil and I could get sick. Like I need to physically really be able to see some things and sign some things so I could have COVID and do that. Like, so the calculated risk, it's like I can take this risk now, but because I need to make these business moves, I need to have these papers signed. But it's like, do I want to go to Grand Slam? Because that's not a risk that I necessarily need to take. So it's still like, do I want to take that risk? So it's hard, like, because I'm still really paranoid about stuff. Like, people think I'm out and about, like, and people would keep like, oh, you're ghosting on me, or I never see you. I was like, nobody sees me. Like, if you're not one of the 10 people that I train with, like, people don't see me. I train with 10 people. I go there at 7 o'clock in the morning. I stay there generally till like 4 o'clock in one building, locked in. Like, so people think I'm out, but I'm not.
Yeah, it's pretty shitty. It's this last few months. When did this all start? March, right?
March.
September. So 9 months? No, it can't be 9 months. No, I'm really bad at that.
March.
7 months, right? It's a 6, 7 months.
August, September. We're going to 7 months.
In the grand scheme of things, it's not that long of time. But
it's almost a year. Like, to me, it seems like we had like a whole fucked up year. It's crazy. As an introvert, like, to me, it's been an amazing year. I can't complain. Like, and I've been parking uptown for almost a year for free. Like,
and that is a plus. Yes. It's I've gotten a lot accomplished. I will tell you that. I would have never thought in a million years that the podcast would get to this level. I would have never thought in a million years that I would actually make so many connections with different people and have something that's such a huge undertaking as creating an online academy and creating my own space so that I can train, instruct virtually and privately in person, small private lessons. On the other end, it's fucked up because my way of life has been severely diminished when it comes to being able to travel around the world and compete and teach and make really good money doing so, more so than I would have ever imagined to make. Last year in the wintertime, I made it a huge professional leap as a competitor, and now it kind of got wiped out in 7 months. You know what I mean? I made such a huge leap, got to a huge level, and now I can't even really train because I don't want to make someone close to me get sick, or I don't want to make other people sick, or I have to adjust because people's pockets are hurting, and it's like a give and take. It's like 50-50. And it sucks too because like I don't like being at home. Like I'm at home a lot. Like I'm a homebody, but I don't like being forced to be at home. There have been times in the last couple of years since I returned to training full time that I was in a different continent every week. At one point last year, or maybe recently, I was like Europe, Asia, South America, United States. Just globe trotting. I was on planes all the time, and I got used to it, and I liked it. I mean, I was on flights with WWE guys a lot. Like those guys travel a lot, and I'm on like, oh shit, that's Bobby Lashley. Oh shit, that's like Ron. I was on the flight.
Like, what do you mean? That's such a random reference.
When I was globe trotting before the shutdown, I was on the same flight as Ronda Rousey and all those guys. Like literally, like it was me and sitting like next to me on the other aisle, a little bit like one row in front was Ronda Rousey and like Roman Reigns and like world famous people. And I'm like, holy shit, like I get
Where were
it
you
now. Like
going?
we're really like we travel a shitload, huh?
Where were you going?
I think Texas,
You
San
just said me and
Antonio
the
for the
wrestler.
summer.
That's just random. That was just like a random wrestling reference. Just like me and professional wrestlers, not professional basketball players, not,
Bro, like let me tell you something. Like,
It's like,
yeah, I mean, like I was meeting all types of people. Like going, like I would just see it. Like you get in that groove. Like when you're traveling a lot, like you become a travel person. Like you
no,
start to go to the airline bars, and they're just like, oh, where you're heading to? I'm used to doing this. And then you talk to people like, oh, and then you realize like it's a whole different world. And when I was
no.
growing up, I used to be like, I was afraid of flying, and I don't really like flying, and I would have never thought that I would travel so much. So, I went hard for a couple of years. These last couple of years, I would do seminar, super fight, driving everywhere, and now it's on lockdown. But it forced me to be more introverted and reflective, and really take control of the other side of being an athlete and doing this sport, and making connections and really building a business,
Yeah,
and realizing and putting the sport into perspective. Because when I sat down and I started talking and really getting to know the people in my life and the other people of my other friends, I realized that there's more to life than just the hustle. In that, you know, to us, jujitsu is great. I have a jujitsu podcast, but there are other things way more important, like social justice, you know, getting close to your friends, acquiring new skills.
yeah, like everybody with education now, everybody about like being in schools and this and that. It's like drives me crazy. Like the educational system was kind of messed up in the first place. And it's like I think right now people just need to embrace uh being flexible, being able to like learn skills that are applicable. Like that was the issue with the educational system. I guess it didn't teach you things that you could apply to life. It taught you stuff you could apply to kind of working in a factory. And like all of these parents are so concerned about like their kids not being in school or passing finals. I was like, most students that I work with cannot read the instructions on a worksheet. Most kids can't cook. Most kids don't have critical thinking. I was like, just the ability, to like to know what you want, to express stuff, to self-advocate, to like clearly express your ideas are very hard. A lot of like people in jujitsu, it's like all they do is train, 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 but like they never know where they're going with it either. So it's like it's been interesting to see like what people are doing in this time, like people like you who have been like focusing on business, people like Muhammad that have been focusing on business, or other people that have been doing nothing, or people that have just kind of been like in a mental funk because jiu-jitsu was like their therapy. But like then you have to recognize that you need something else.
You do. um it was hard, but I kind of said like, you know it's hard for me because I started jujitsu for different reasons than a lot of people do. And when you have different motivations going into this, it's you still have those motivations subconsciously, but when it's taken from you, then you have to really sit back and get to know yourself. And I think that's what a lot of people probably have a problem with. I think a lot of the athletes, their whole identity is wrapped in, I have this tournament coming up, or I have to get this move down. Well, if you're stuck at home, you're stuck with yourself. You're stuck with learning more about yourself, and that can get really ugly depending on where you started in this journey. It can be really ugly as far as figuring out who you are, and some people are really ugly inside. You know what I mean? Some people don't like that, and that's why you probably see a lot of people in the funk, or that's why it's forced people to be the best version of themselves that they probably would have never discovered if it weren't for this fucking germ that has ruined so many lives, you know? And then you start to like, for me personally, I was like, bro, like at the end of the day, it's not that serious. Like jiu-jitsu is cool and everything, but you can't You can't buy health. You can't buy that self-actualization. If you can't sit at home by yourself, if you can't really evaluate things and you can't grow from a time like this, you got some self-reflecting to do. So I think that's the problem a lot of people have. And now, since we're all at home, we learn different things about each other. Like going back to the finding out your teammates are racist. Like, I think this is a result of we can't hide behind. There's too much free time on our hands, or our normal lives. We spend a lot of our time hiding, hiding how we really feel. But now there's nothing else for you to do but to express it. Like, you're finding out yourself, and these phones, people are playing themselves, exposing themselves. There's good and there's bad. So that's how it is, man. That's how it is. But, there's still jiu-jitsu going on. There's the BJJ BET. Did you watch it?
I fucked up. On an epic level. Hilarious. Because I suck. I was supposed to cover the event. I was like, not only am I going to watch it, I'm going to make sure I get all of the stats, the this, the that. And then not only that, I was like, I'm going to get the crew that I train with. Because I can't even say it. I can't even say why. And go over with somebody's house. And then we're all going to watch it together. But I thought this shit was on Saturday.
Damn, real word.
And I had plans on Sunday. So I missed it because the event was on Sunday. And I was pissed because not only did I want to cover it for media coverage on Favela Jiu-Jitsu, because it was a big event. Like, it had a lot of major names. I don't know if a lot of people know about it in the U.S. because I don't know if they really pushed anything in English or if it was all.
Hell no, they didn't. I was looking at Bet BJJ, BJJ Bet, BET, all types of shit popped up.
Yo, but it had Yara Suarez and Gabi Pesania, like a rematch from Worlds, Black Belt World Champions, Merigali, Leandro, by Izaki was fighting a Gracie, Herbert, Felipe Pen. It had everybody in Brazil, but nobody really knew about it. And not only that, a lot of people were complaining about paying the $14 pay-per-view, which pisses me off. Because people complain about everything. People want to complain, oh, Flow Grappling's so expensive. You know why Flow Grappling's expensive? Because they're a monopoly. You know why they're a monopoly? Because anytime some other company like BJJ BET want to come up, albeit in Portuguese with other options, people are like, nah, fuck it. I ain't paying $14. I spend more money on coffee in a day. Like, $14.
Wait, you don't make your own coffee?
What?
You don't make your own
coffee?
I
like lattes. I like extra sweet lattes because I work a lot. I need that extra. Yo, I used to hang out with your old co-host. Do you know this motherfucker would go to Starbucks and get like 5 shots of espresso in his coffee?
You know why he went to Starbucks, Nico? We both know why he went to Starbucks. We know why he went to Starbucks, okay? Okay.
Right, but anyway, people always complain about
story another time.
People always complaining about paying for jiu-jitsu. It's $15. Amazing fights. But either way, no, I did not pay for it because I was busy. And yes, I missed the event completely. But, my team did link up. They all watched it. And I think what was really cool is I thought BJJ BET was just some Brazilians coming up with some fancy name. But there was actually a BJJ picks. There was some betting to go along with it. So I don't think we should be promoting betting on the podcast. I'm not promoting betting or anything. But
why not?
Legal
gambling
implications. I don't know. I gotta check with my PR agent before I say anything about betting.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't think. I don't have a stance on betting. My political stance on betting has not been set, So either way, but it was a really cool event. I did miss it. I fucked up. I missed it, but I wanted to watch it really bad. But I encourage you all, please go out and pay for jiu-jitsu. And if you're not going to pay for the small events like that, do not ask me for my Flow Grappling password because you don't want to pay for Flow Grappling. And do not come at me with your complaints about how expensive Flow Grappling is, because I work for Favela Jiu-Jitsu and BJJ Goons. I'm not a Flow Grappling employee in the first place.
I'm not giving y'all my passwords. Fuck that.
I'm not either.
I'm not giving nobody no passwords. No, I did not watch the event. I'm sorry. I did not. It was Sunday. I did not watch the event. I'm sorry, guys. I was not going to pay money to see another jiu-jitsu event. I apologize. I did not watch it. I did hear a lot about it. I saw clips. Congratulations to May again. Mayram. He's amazing. Hey, he should make a shirt. Amazing. See? He should. You know what? We're going to make the shirt.
Put like a corn on the back because you're corny.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a dad joke or two, okay? All right? I am the master of dad jokes. Yara had a close match at Gabrielle Pasania. Did I pronounce that correct?
Pasania, yeah. I saw a picture and heard she was going in on a knee bar. Like the hearsay, what I heard was she needed to believe in it more. But again, I'm so sorry. I'm friends with both of them.
You gotta believe. Bruh, I'm telling you this right now. If someone is screaming you gotta believe to you, you're probably getting your ass whooped, bro.
Yo.
I have a funny story about someone yelling you gotta believe, but I'm not gonna say it because I'm cool now. But it's a funny ass story. And the thing was, the people whose team the guys were screaming you gotta believe, and their dude was getting their ass whooped.
Yeah, yep. I was posting about that in my stories. Like things that people always scream at tournaments that don't help, like get up or get out. It's like they're not getting like but anyway.
It's hard giving out instructions during jiu-jitsu matches because in jiu-jitsu the other guy can hear you, and if they're really good and they're already beating your teammate or your student up, they're probably going to be like, oh, I'm just going to counter that. Or you're in a position in which, well, no matter what you do, you're screwed.
That's very true.
Yeah. Nicholas Marigali versus Leandro ended in a draw. Izaki Bayensi defeated Gregor Gracie. Felipe Pena defeated Erberth because he gave up. Erberth gave up. Erberth is like an enigma because he's kind of like Mike Tyson back in the day. Like he might knock you out in 30 seconds, or he might bite the guy's ear off. He might win by submission in spectacular fashion or start a riot.
You never know. You never know.
Oh my God. We should do a whole episode. It's probably going to have to be Patreon because we will most likely get canceled if I were to tell you all the travel stories, especially if we put DJ on about what we did on all these trips. But yeah, there might be a riot.
Abu Dhabi in particular, because they put everybody up in hotels in the same hotel. There's a lot of money over there.
Nico, you're making it hot. The
desert, so it is hot.
I need the soundboard so we have that.
Yeah, we're working on that. All right, yeah. Okay, so then we had Kanye Duarte and Roberto Cyborg.
Man, that was the easiest heel hook. I wish a motherfucker would leave their feet dangling like that. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's probably all over Instagram. That was like the worst heel hook defense I've ever seen.
I keep hearing that, and like I haven't seen it, and and people keep saying that Kanye is really bad at defending heel hooks.
Kanye?
I've heard it several times, and so now I'm at the point. It's like I want to study his fights to understand what it is to be a high level. I don't know, what is it leaving? I probably leave a lot of things dangling out to get tapped out.
Nico, it wasn't even that. It was a split second misjudgment. It was just like he just left the shit out there. It was like dangling a steak in front of a damn grizzly bear. I'm like, bro, your leg Your heel is wide open. Tuck it under him. Do something.
Like a little dinosaur. T-Rex all the time. Everything in tight. In tight.
Yes.
Everything in tight.
T-Rex all the time. And I'm like, bro, even when he was reaching for your foot, you could have fought the hands. I think the problem with jiu-jitsu guys is once you get to a certain level, if you're a guard guy too, you're just like, okay, you're too cool for school. And he was too cool for school until Cyborg. I mean, why would you do that with Cyborg? And side note, Cyborg is probably Black Belt of the Year. I think so. He has my belt. I mean, he has my belt.
Cyborg's a beast.
He is a beast. Yes. I would love to fight him and fight to win. That was one of the guys I wanted to go after that I was given the opportunity to compete against, but I unfortunately, the Rona couldn't do it. But shout out to Cyborg. Ageless Wonder. I think if you say your prayers and do your vitamins and eat right, you could look like that and fight until you're 50.
Yeah.
Thoughts, Nico?
I mean,
I want to know what this dude is eating. Does he live by the fountain of youth? Does he just wake up every morning, dive in?
Probably the same thing Muhammad's eating, because Muhammad went down there to train with him, and now he's up here on his Instagram like, oh, I don't do jiu-jitsu, I'm a fitness model, and his meal prep. Like, I want to know if Muhammad's cooking that.
I need to go down there, bro. This dude left Maryland and came back. He looked like Super Shredder. Like, he looked like a mutant. We went to the club after ADCC, and he had, those tall tees, right? He stretched out the tall tee like he was like, oof. I'm like, bro, like you wearing like a triple XL, and I can still see your traps. Like, what's going on? Like, what are y'all eating? I need to get on that model life,
That model. He really is kind of focusing on just like, he's like, oh, I need the meal prep, so like I got the abs so I can do the fitness and da. It's like, all right, man. It's like, I feel you on that. Like, because that was the whole Brazilian thing. Like, because I used to call it, like, when I lived in Brazil, I would call it the steroid diet. Because, like, they were all on steroids, and I was just kind of tracing after them. But, like, when they go on steroids, like, you have to, like, cut out all sugar from your diet, all fats from your diet. Like, so, like, no butter and, like, no sugar. Nothing with sugar in it. Like, because, like, the sugar and steroids is what makes you pimply. So, like, just by, like, doing the steroid diet, it helped me cut out a lot of weight. Like, that's why I don't put like
steroid diet.
I call it the steroid diet, because when you do a cycle of steroids, you can't consume sugar, because sugar is what makes you break out, and you can't consume fats, like things like butter. Like, so like, and I was told, like, people at Novo and Yao would be like, yeah, just like don't eat that shit. Like, Claudia Gadelha like robbed me of sugar of my entire life, like, because I used to, like, I would put it in coffee, like a ton of sugar in coffee and milk, and like that was like the big thing. I took it out, so like I would substitute like honey for sugar, and like I don't eat sugar. I bought butter for like the first time in 10 years, like last week. And then like all I would eat was natural stuff. Like nothing was frozen, no sugar and no fats. And I call that the steroid diet. And like, I used to be shredded off that, like just without the steroids, like all the training I would do, and then just cutting with that diet. Like if you cut out all artificial sugar, cause sugar is in everything, like no sweets, no soda, no juice, because juice has sugar. Like juice in Brazil, like when you ask for like orange juice, they get oranges and then they make your juice is orange. Like when you get pineapple juice, like they have a lot of natural juices that are just fruit. So like
that's what Cyborg and them are doing. They're just eating really clean.
Or steroids.
Damn.
No, I can't. No, I say steroids just because I was looking at the fan questions. I'm not calling you Muhammad out, Cyborg.
Like he's a genetic freak, bro. Because he looks like that all. Like when I first met Muhammad, he looked the same. Like he's just like a freaking genetic freak. Like I remember him, Herbert, Gobi. Those guys would just eat eggs, and that's all they ate, and they looked like that.
Yeah, like a lot of eggs, like 20 eggs, like in a meal.
Oh yeah, they at the fighter house they had like 20 eggs. They would eat like 20 eggs at a time. The whole fridge was filled with eggs. And then after we won Worlds, they were like, no more eggs. Kobe's like, no more eggs, and like they would just eat eggs all the time. That's what they would do. Oh, they're genetic. I don't know, bro. Like, if that's
And
the diet those guys are on,
it is like batata doce y frango, like sweet potatoes and chicken. Because sweet potatoes in Brazil, they're not the same as sweet potatoes here. They're not as sweet and they're white, but they're healthier, like the nutrients. So like that was like the whole thing. Like all fighters like lived off like eggs, sweet potatoes, chicken. Claudia used to make me drink beet juice and carrots, but like Claudia was smart. Like she would tell me stuff like a lot of beet juice they sell with like oranges, but the acidity from the orange will cancel out like the minerals or something that you get from the beet. So she's like, nah, you can't be putting like your oranges in your beet juice. Like you need to just go get your beets and your oranges, and then I put it in a blender. Like I never ate any processed food in Brazil.
wow. Well, no wonder he's going to be a model. He just eats
Mm-hmm.
really clean, and he's
Yep.
already like genetically superior than everyone. I told you he's the best athlete in jiu-jitsu. The best athlete.
He is one of the hardest working people I know. Cause like I was telling you
Exactly.
before about stuff. I was like, a lot of stuff that like I had flow grappling trained me in, like hours training me in, like he learned on YouTube. Like, and he used to stay up to like 3 o'clock in the morning learning how to edit videos. Like editing videos on Adobe Premiere. Adobe Premiere is a pain in my ass. It's hard. Everything Adobe is hard. Like,
It's like
and
freezing
Muhammad
an
just like learned it
airplane.
all on his own. Like, and
Mhm.
that's amazing because like and it's also to be noted like Brazilians study habits and like are not the same as Americans. Brazilians love to not do nothing. Like, and I feel bad at saying that, but it's like they don't have like that opportunity. It's like Brazilian, like it's not like the American system where it's like, oh, like Americans are like in college full time, working full time, have a part time job just to pay their rent. Like Americans, we know we got to do like 20 things. Like Brazilians, a lot of time, like they graduate from high school and they're like, I'm gonna be a professional fighter, and they feel like they can live off a sponsorship and not have any skills or a job. Like that's super common.
Mm,
But
interesting.
anyway, let's take this conversation into Muhammad's fine body, into the guest questions, because we got one guest that I want to bring up with, like, who might be an ex-guest, because I'm about to be like, Mac 1979 trying to get us killed and canceled. With his
Hey,
question of,
Muhammad. One more thing about Muhammad. He should totally start an OnlyFans. Should
I'll,
start an
I can't even take his picture. Normally, like if you want to start in OnlyFans, I got that camera. I got you for that high quality content.
Anyone
But
that's
Muhammad got to
listening
get a
in the
camera than me.
DMV, if you're a young lady that wants to make some extra money in these quarantine times, we have an entire photography studio with lights. We promise it'll be tasteful. So I think I should run out to space. I'm just saying, if you want to start OnlyFans, I have everything. I won't even take the pictures. Nico's the photographer. But the first question,
The
oh
first
my God.
question from Mac 1979 that fitting to get us caught up is, how many programs you know of whose athletes cheat with them steroids? A couple, but I'd be damned if I would tell it online.
I'm not a snitch, so I'm not going to snitch on anybody. But I'm here to tell you, and it breaks my heart to say this, it's better to ask what programs are not on steroids than to ask who does them steroids. I know I haven't taken steroids. I've never taken any performance enhancing drugs. As a matter of fact, some of my best performances are the day after a night of partying. So maybe that's my PED, partying really freaking hard the night before matches. But a lot of teams are. I think it's a huge problem. Before we even started the podcast, started recording, we were talking about how I think one of the major reasons why, and I think the jiu-jitsu community purposely, not like the fans, but I think the powers that be don't want this sport to get into the Olympics because it would require a lot of things. And one of them primarily being that there would be severe drug testing. And it would totally fuck up everyone's impression on who's great. It would ruin everything. A lot of professional sports, they started just holding guys' blood, like saving their blood or their urine, because they know that right now they can beat the test, but they're assuming that later on down the road, the testing will catch up, and then they'll be able to find what was really in these guys' systems. If they did that in jiu-jitsu, well, the record books would be empty because 99% of the guys at the highest not 99, let's say 97% of the guys at the highest level at least take performance enhancing drugs. I mean, there's other reasons why. I think, I don't know if you want to get into what we were saying before. Maybe we could, because it's good content, about why I think that it's purposeful that the sport will not go into Olympics, and the powers that be in the sport, the power brokers, don't want it to go there. But one of them is that it is so prevalent, and that's a black eye in the sport. Could you imagine? It'd be like baseball, but way worse, because at least in baseball, there were guys that didn't do it. And there was still, like, even now guys take it, but it's kind of frowned upon publicly. But in the jiu-jitsu community, guys blatantly say, yeah, I take steroids, or I've done it before. And people are just like, yeah, or it's obvious. Like, their nipples are like hard as a rock all the time in all their pictures. And they're like, got pimples on their stomach, you know, they got male pattern baldness, and they're 23 years old, and people are like, oh, bro, he's so freaking good. And then if anybody says anything, they're like, oh, you're a hater. It doesn't make a difference. So, yeah, probably 97% at least are on steroids. But I'm not a snitch. I'm not telling nobody's business. No,
I'm definitely not no, I will tell two quick stories. So I would say, like, I remember one time being in Brazil, in Sao Paulo for Brasileiros, in a car with one of Terere's friends that had taken in some people from the social project, and he was like driving us around. And, you know, like, Portuguese is like my third language, so like I have to make an effort to understand. If I just block it out, like, I could be like, doo, 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 doo. So I'm sitting in the back of the car, and then I realize that the person is talking about a prominent jiu-jitsu person that everybody knows. And then he was like, yeah, they just took his steroids out from the bathroom, like, counter, and hit him so that he would flip out. And sure enough, he comes home, da 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 da, finds out his steroids are missing, da 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 da. So I'm sitting in the back of the car, and I'm like, wait, are they just talking about so-and-so? And they're just talking about fucking around and hiding his steroids on him.
He's mad. He's mad, like, where the fuck are my steroids? Who moved them? Mom!
So I was like, yeah. And then another steroid story, I was like, because when I was in Brazil, like, I was training professionally. Like, I was training with Nobu and Yao. So, like, I would do boxing, MMA, da-da-da-da. And I was with my boxing coach that's not at Nobu and Yao. He's actually at the boxing gym that was in the favela where I trained, and or where I lived. And I'm sitting there, like, I'm running, I'm doing my cardio, I'm running. I was in like a private session, and like, he's sitting there, he's talking to me, he's telling me about like my game and all this. And it's just like, yeah, it's not time for you to start taking steroids yet. First, you got to max out on your potential. And then that's when you start doing a little cycle to like up it and then recover. And I'm just like, what? I was like, how did we just go from like, it's not time to do steroids yet? Like, in just a casual conversation, I was just like, okay, like,
That's
or we could
crazy.
just leave the steroids out of the whole equation. Like, but that's all I'm gonna say on steroids in Brazil.
It's just nuts, man. It's pretty. It actually is pretty sad because I think about the training protocols in a lot of gyms, and I think a lot of training protocols are antiquated. And the reason why I say that is that, number one, if you're a clean athlete, you can't train with those protocols long term. There were times when I felt as though it was encouraged that you train a certain load, and you can do that, but I've never taken performance enhancing drugs in my life. So if you're expected to train at the level, or you're raised up thinking that you're supposed to train a certain amount, like, I heard stories of world-class guys that say they train 3 times a day hard. And on top of that, they do strength and conditioning. Now, if you're coming up with that mindset, eventually these two things are going to clash. It's going to be your body, your natural human potential, versus an expectation that is based on people that take performance enhancing drugs. And eventually, like, something's got to give, and most of the time it's going to be your body. when I think back about that, it's like, shit, that's fucked up, because a lot of the youth and a lot of the guys that are entering the sport are under that impression that's what you have to do. And it kind of ruins things, because I always imagine what it would be like if they actually tested, if they did random testing and they severely punished people that did this. I always wondered what the difference would be for guys that, if it was an even playing field, if they decided to continue to compete because it was fair. Because I know a lot of guys, they'll stop because they lost. And they lost because those guys are on steroids. They're at a distinct advantage. Or they're training with guys on steroids and they can't keep up in practice. I had a guy that switched teams. He went to a very big name school and he told me, like, straight up, like, bro, I can't physically keep up because I'm going with these guys and they're already good and I'm very good. And I'm talking as though I'm the guy. He's like, I'm very good too. But if I'm going with roid head, round after round after round every day, I'm going to break down. I'm not going to survive. So that's my stance. It's fucked up.
It's very fucked up.
Next question.
We got about time for one more. So, and then
one more.
So pick the best one, not just the next one. Pick the best one. Everybody else, like, I want to do more fan questions. I know we have a lot of guests, and then we don't normally do fan questions, but I think we should try to include some maybe every episode. We got a couple here, so we'll do one more. There are other ones I definitely want to get to.
Too much pressure.
What?
It's too much pressure. It's too much pressure on me to pick. You pick one.
There's a lot. Like, we'll get to the rest of them next week, because there's some that I don't want to leave undressed or in some kind of forum. Maybe we'll hit you up on Facebook. I don't. It's hard. That is a lot of pressure. I thought you were gonna pick. Post-pandemic, we won't go.
Something that's not going to get me on a tangent, because some of these questions.
That's what I'm trying to think. They're all really.
I get triggered. Some people ask me things that I get triggered, and I just go and, like, I get angry, Tim. Like, I'm a really nice guy, but, like, inside, sometimes it's just like 3 Mile Island. Like, it just boils up, and I just go on like a 3-hour rant. You know what? I'm just going to get a simple one. What can I do for my achy hands, from Vegan Connoisseur? Well, what I suggest you do for your achy hands is that, and I heard this from a very reliable source, someone that has very good guard, you can put your hands in warm water in the morning. Not piping hot, but warm enough so you can take it and just let them sit in there. And that's what they did to recover. And also CBD cream can work, so from what I've heard, but I'm of the opinion that CBD creams don't work. I think
I like to take CBD tinctures. I like I have this black belt CBD cream that I think was amazing. They went out of business. I also use Red Bowie. So I do like to take the tinctures, and I like to keep it in my system. So not just when I'm in pain. I like to make sure I'm taking it every day. And then Master Lloyd always has, and before Master Lloyd, I'd heard about this as well. This thing called Wobazine. Let me try. No, because
yeah.
Let me pull it out for those of you that can see it. So this is like an anti-inflammatory. So instead of waiting till it's like painful, like I try to keep this in my system all the time. It helps. It's a little bit more natural because I don't like taking painkillers. So I try to like make sure that my body has enough supplements. Because, like, you know, again, with Brazil, everybody was on the steroids or this or that. It's also important to make sure that you have enough minerals and enough vitamins. Like, before you start taking BCAAs and this and that, like, are you eating enough? Like, so making sure that, like, you have the vitamins and things like that in your system is really going to help you be able to train harder.
Wobenzime is a good one. I forgot all about that.
I live by that. And, like, even I know Jamil, like, when he hurts himself, or do we say his injuries? I'm not putting Jamil out.
I don't think it's a good idea to say his injury.
What?
There's a lot, but I don't think you should say his injury.
Yeah,
Come on, Nico.
Like, we're all on the Wobazine. We're all on the Wobazine. Nobody can spell it. Do you think strengthening helps achy hands, or are you beyond the point of strengthening?
I'm going back to lifting heavy very soon. And I
Achy
will say
hands.
that.
That's
Let me finish, Nico. Let me
okay.
finish. When
That was
I felt the strongest and I felt impenetrable to pain and aches, it's when I lifted heavy as fuck. Now, you might put on weight. I don't know for some people listening if you want to put on that kind of weight, because that's gonna have to be a give or take. But when I lifted heavy as fuck and I started getting stronger and bigger, uh, it helped. I didn't feel any aches in my hands. Weight training will help because you're just picking like, deadlifts, pull-ups, that kind of stuff. You're strengthening your joints, and I feel like getting stronger just helps with the aches, but that's just me. That was the last question, folks. Nico, where can everybody reach you?
make sure to follow me at No New Nico, and of course Favela Jiu Jitsu for everything news from the favela.
You guys can find me at timspriggsbjj.com for all things Tim Spriggs. If you want to get a private lesson, book me for a seminar. Lord willing, we'll have some or not, and we end up in a Mad Max scenario in the world. Who knows? But if you want to book me there, go to timspriggsbjj.com. I'm also at timspriggsbjj on Instagram and the Book of Face. Guys, make sure you're staying safe out there. If you are training, have a lot of fun, train extra hard because I can't right now. And that's it. This has been the BJJ Goons podcast. Peace.
Us.